sleeping baby. According to a recent survey in Sweden, a third of parents think it is.
Well, mum of two, Lynnea Shrief, believes that sex with her husband whilst sharing the same bed as their sleeping baby is natural. She even admits to using a pillow to hide her squeals of delight.
Then there's Sonia Poulton, a mum of one, who believes the whole idea is disgusting and nothing short of child abuse.
Well, if you want to get involved in this debate, then go to our website, itv.com/thismorning, to tell us who you side with using our interactive worm. And welcome, ladies. Welcome to both of you. So you're saying that this is something that you're not promoting, that this is something that worked for you?
Yes, absolutely.
So when did it start?
Well, we co-slept with our children, so they shared a bed with us. I'm a breastfeeding mom, not still. My kids are 6 and 3 now, so when they were babies, I breastfed for roughly 9 to 12 months, both of them. And co-sleeping was natural and nurturing and a loving thing for me, and easy. I didn't have to get up and sit up in bed. I just rolled over, breastfed, and went back to sleep. Occasionally, when baby was sleeping and my husband and I felt, you know, we wanted to start kissing and making love, then we did so. And it was on, you know, the other side of the bed, nowhere near our baby. Our baby was fast asleep, no knowledge of it whatsoever. And it was a very intimate and passionate thing, and not sort of this wild sex that probably a lot of people are thinking of. Sex is a very calm and natural, loving thing, especially when there's a baby even in the room.
A lot of people will be watching this and thinking, gosh, if the dog walks in the room or the cat walks in the room, it's sort of somewhat off-putting.
It's because they're staring at you.
But is there...
You felt that, didn't you?
Well, I have a dog, and when she walks in the room, if we're, you know, making love, then I get the dog out, because she's awake and staring at me. But when your baby is asleep and, you know, sleeping soundly, I mean, making love was how the baby came into this world.
Your baby
so
woke up, I mean, at about 2 years old, woke up and asked for a glass of water?
Yeah, that's it. We stopped, gave her a glass of water, she went back to sleep, and we went to sleep, you know, out of respect for our child, so...
Well, didn't you wait until she'd gone back to sleep and then finish your...
We might have done. It was a while ago. She's 6 now, and that happened when she was 2, so we might have done.
But yeah. So that's what you did. So you were making love, the baby woke up, asked for a glass of water at 2 years old, you gave her a glass of water, wait till she'd gone back to sleep again, and then you carried on.
Yeah. Quietly.
What about, would there have been... Do you think people would sort of think differently if you were to say, not be in the bed, if you'd have gone into the bathroom or gone on to or just nipped downstairs on the sofa or something, or just chosen somewhere different whilst the baby was asleep? I mean, was that an option? Because I can understand when you're a new mum, you have to find those times that are right. And sex is really important as your relationship.
Yeah.
But you can find them, not in your bedroom. I mean, there are ways.
But it's my bedroom. It's my bedroom, it's my bed. And if I paid for the nice, comfy beds to sleep in, I deserve to make love to my husband in the very bed that my child was created in. So.
OK, well, Sonia, let's come to you, because you say that when you hear this, it makes you feel a bit sick. It gives you a bit of a sickening feeling.
But not for the reasons of, I have issues with sex. Some people automatically assume that the moment you say this doesn't work for you, it doesn't sound OK, that you're uptight about sex, that there's some kind of Victorian throwback cultural issue. It isn't that at all. My gut instinct says this isn't OK. My attitude really is that the only time you mix a child with sex is when you're creating them, really. I think that is an adult issue, and I've looked through a lot of different case books and case stories about children who have been involved in, you know, at an older age, even older than 2.5, who had witnessed that. And there are issues that
had witnessed what?
Well, had witnessed their parents making love.
But I'm talking about when they're sleeping, so that I think there's a completely different issue involved here.
There's issues of the vibration as well. There's a vibration that the children can feel as well.
Wait, I mean, what about rocking cradles? There's vibrating cradles and rocking cradles.
Children are like sponges; they soak everything up. Okay, and it's not to take anything away from the actual love making of it. That's a wonderful thing, but I think it's very much an adult thing.
Do you think there's a difference then? I'm just trying to work this out, because people obviously will continue to have sex whilst they're pregnant, whilst they're very heavily pregnant, and then if she's waiting until the baby's born 4 weeks old when they've started to make love again, is there a difference having a baby in the bed next to you and having sex at 9 when you're 9 months pregnant?
With the baby in between you.
Well, I mean, I'm just sort of putting it out there. I don't know.
I think that's a very interesting question. I personally feel there is. I personally feel there is.
You talked about vibration. Yes. And then you think if that's the case, then it would be able to feel it in...
There's a difference with a child being born anyway than in utero. Obviously, we know that anyway, because they're soaking up all different sensations, because suddenly they're exposed and more vulnerable than when they are inside of the mother. So there is the issue of that as well. I think we have to, there are issues of boundaries that we need to look into, because obviously we are now dealing with a highly sexualised society. A lot of people say, but in other cultures they do this. Well, in other cultures they marry off 10-year-old girls and start, you know, having babies with 10-year-old girls. So that isn't okay. And also some people say, well, for many, many years and many centuries, parents have been doing this as well. Well, again, going back, historically, men used to club women over the head and drag them off to their cage. So we've evolved, we've moved on in many, many respects, and I think this is another, I think it's too much of a grey area, personally.
You know, when you're making love to your partner, there's high amounts of oxytocin, which is the body's love hormone, created in the room, and I think it's far more beneficial for a child to be involved, and not even involved in that sense because they're lying there sleeping peacefully, but to be in a loving family, in a loving home where a partner and the couples are actually making love and enjoying each other's company and passion, compared to an awake child, or baby for that matter, who a lot of people say, oh, they don't remember things when they're 1 year old, and their parents are screaming and shouting back and forth when they're awake.
A child can experience the love of a family without having to experience it from that way.
Well, I wouldn't say that that we did this so that they experienced it, but I think it's far more beneficial to be part of a family who is in a loving relationship and who does make love on a regular basis.
Isn't it, as Holly pointed out, you said it a moment ago, you said it's my bed, I paid for it, which is a sort of a, it's a bit selfish. Wouldn't you have thought that...
You can't be 100% selfless as a mum. You know, you've got to take time out for yourself, and you've got to keep your relationship strong for the sake of your children. That's incredibly important.
What about, because I know that one of the points that are going to be raised by people saying, and Holly touched upon this, the fact that if it is a selfish thing, why don't you, if you're so overcome with the urge and you can't wait, or you couldn't go somewhere else, why not plan your...
Well, it wasn't about that. We slept with our children in the bed every single night. So, I'm not going to whisk my husband off to the toilet every single time we wanted to make love, if it was once or twice a week. Like I said before, it was an incredibly passionate, calm, and enjoyable experience for us, and one which my daughter did only wake that one very time,
And something that you were talking about, Sonia, at what point does sex between the mother and the father impact on the child? And you've actually said, if you hear your parents making love in another room, then that has an impact
People
on
have
you.
said that to me, yes, definitely. I mean, I grew up with only my mother, so I don't actually know that experience myself, but from people I've interviewed, yes, one woman actually recalled one of her first ever memories is hearing her mother and father having sex in another room, and she thought her father was killing her mother. Absolutely convinced by it.
And was she damaged by that?
To this day, and she's roughly the same age as me, so in her 40s, to this day, she's disturbed by it. It disturbs her because she's still... The problem is for children, they can't necessarily articulate what it is going into their heads. They're hearing all these things, and it's not making any sense to them. So what do they say to be able to have those fears alleviated? There's very little they can say.
I think
so that
we're going back to having sex when your children are awake,
but
though, and this study
really
focused on the fact that...
I just wanted to pick up on that point. I wanted to know what
do you know what I'm really
interested
to know, because I mean I've been in this situation, and I remember when our daughter was very, very young, she was in the cot in our bedroom, and I when we started to get a bit frisky and everything, but I couldn't actually, because I couldn't get turned on with her there.
But that's choice. That's the way
but I'm interested to know how people do.
Well,
that interests me.
They obviously do, because human beings are very different, and the sexual spectrum is all sorts of different colours.
Yeah, indeed.
And the survey carried out by the Swedish magazine Mama found that 3 in 10 Swedish mothers had sex whilst the baby slept next to them. In a separate study, 59% of American parents admitted to having sex whilst an infant was in the room. That doesn't, that's 59% of America. They're not all damaged.
This is a lot, yeah. But I'm not necessarily saying damaged. I'm saying that my gut instinct...
You said it was verging on child abuse.
Well, it doesn't seem right to me. Look, when you say to somebody...
But that's different.
When you say to somebody...
I'm sorry, but it doesn't seem right to me is a very different way of saying... If you say it's verging on child abuse, is much stronger than it doesn't seem right to you.
I think it is verging on child abuse. I actually do. I am of that belief.
Child abuse.
I think circumcision is child abuse. They say that babies don't remember things that happened to them before they're 1, but babies are wide awake and getting vaccine needles and circumcised. In America, 90% of kids, baby boys, are circumcised, and we're supposed to just let all that go and they won't remember it. I mean, we're talking about a very positive, loving event here that that it's happening next to them while they're sleeping. And, you know, I completely dispute the rocking and the vibration thing, because there's all kinds of toys out there that rock and vibrate our infants when we're trying to do the dishes and all sorts. So that's, just, for me, just complete hogwash. You know,
but not necessarily accompanied by that human moaning and groaning and all those other things.
But
that
I don't
take
moan and groan.
But I don't understand the need
sex.
to involve children in your sex life. That doesn't make sense to me.
But I wasn't. I'm not involving them in my sex life.
They're participators to a certain degree. I mean, I wouldn't do with you
whatsoever.
in the room. You know, so it's like whoever's there. To me, it's much more of an intimate between two people. It's not a spectator sport for me. You know, and perhaps for some people it is.
They were fast asleep.
But the baby is still present. I mean, the thing is that you just ask people, and it isn't just a cultural issue. Ask people how they feel about it, and the gut instinct is, oh, that doesn't seem right. And so, what is that very basic instinct?
I guess it depends on where we are in the world.
But again, it is a cultural issue. But there's a very basic instinct which says, no, these things should be separated, and never the twain shall meet.
Not in this case.
Absolutely not in this case. But that,
and not in 59% of the Americans that were polled.
But I only know one person who's ever admitted to doing it. So I'd like to know all these 59%.
Let's have a look. You were in the lead at one stage, Sonia. I'm afraid you've slipped back now slightly. And Lynnea has 52%.
Well done.
And you have 47. It's forever dropping. Right, we'll leave that there. Absolutely fascinating. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very interesting debate. Very interesting.
And if you have something that you would like to say, we'll go back to the hub a little bit later on. It'd be fascinating to hear what you've got to say about the debate we just had.